Hello? Can anyone around here speak basketball?
It's the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast.
Smoking.
Oh, that's how we're doing the 100th episode.
Welcome to the Confederacy of Dunks
Basketball Podcast. Oh, you're way into it now.
I love it now, yeah. This is a Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast. I'm the host, Freddie Rivas.
I'm the producer, Matt Duncan.
And this is actually kind of a special episode. We've reached 100.
Yeah.
So what we've decided to do is do a call-in episode with 10 of our favorite guests, just giving me their hot takes.
Yeah.
And
Raptors on the NBA at large.
That's right. They each get 5 minutes. And at the end of their 5 minutes, what happens, Matt?
Well, essentially a time bomb goes off and explodes. And that is when they know their time is up.
And it's a really good, well-constructed sound.
Yeah, it's very well constructed. And there's a lot of Matthew Goodband references throughout all the takes. So special thanks to him and the hit song Hello Time Bomb, which was my inspiration for the whole timer itself.
So glad after all these years, Matthew Good still inspires you. So if someone wanted to listen to this podcast, besides, tracking me down, strangling me, for instance, until I tell you all my basketball opinions, how might you find the pod?
Well, you can go to dunkspodcast.com and we have all the links for all your podcatchers on the right, as well as Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. We're even on YouTube. I don't know if you're one of them psychos that listens to podcasts on YouTube.
Oh, you're going after the YouTube people now.
Yeah, going after the YouTube people. But yeah, please, it's been 100 episodes. If you could, those who have rated us on iTunes or Stitcher, or I'm not sure, you're familiar with Player FM. Do they have a rating system, or is it just an image of an old guy giving thumbs up? I'm not sure.
Player FM is basically it's like super cool. If you ever been in the Galleria Mall, around the Dufferin and Dupont in Toronto,
the Galleria Mall of
cool
podcatchers. Okay, now I get it.
But please, rate us, review us.
Yeah,
that's all good. It helps our ratings and
send us, any comments or questions to confederacyofdunks@gmail.com.
Right.
And
one day we'll have a Patreon.
One day we're going to have a Patreon.
Oh, it's going to be so glorious.
One day we're going to have a poster. One day we're going to have some merch that we keep saying that.
We've made some hats.
We have, yeah.
We just didn't set up the Shopify account yet.
We haven't.
Okay?
Yeah, we need to order more hats.
We're really trying here. Jeez. Yeah. Please enjoy this podcast. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of some of the amazing guests.
Yeah,
we had OG Kevin Dowse. He talks a little bit about load management. Yeah. We got Cathryn Naiker, who lets you know that a certain Raptors coach is quite handsome. Alan Shane Lewis talking about the Celtics maybe being better without Kyrie.
You're really just going through all the hot takes.
I'm doing it.
All right, fair enough.
Ryan Henry steps up to the plate. He's talking about how LeBron's taking too much of the blame for the Lakers. We got Andre Pape. He's actually talking about how the Hawks are going to get home court. Mm-hmm. We had Brian Kimmel on. He was talking about how Siakam's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And he also had some unfortunate predictions about New Orleans.
Yeah.
Maybe losing their franchise if...
Just keep explaining it. They don't need to hear it.
Oh, wow. Matt's digging in here, eh? We got Ian Gordon talking about how Golden State Warriors aren't going to make it all the way. Jess Nicolette popped in to say that the Bucks are going to get bounced in the second round.
Yeah.
And of course, we had I Test Elisa, who said that Jeremy Lin is better on D than he is on O. Did I forget anyone, Matt?
No. Yeah. I feel like my grandpa just explained to me how a TV remote works.
Oh, wow. Oh, the tables have turned for us, eh? Wait, I didn't say about Ben Miner.
Yeah, Ben Miner.
Ben Miner said the Raptors don't need Kawhi.
Right.
I mean, that's like, definitely listen to his take because it's more nuanced than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Matt, that's how a pod works.
You know what? I had a hot take. Nobody asked me.
Okay, what's your hot take?
My hot take is that Masai's going to leave the Raptors for that league in Africa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Here's my hot take.
What is
you
it?
just got fired. Just kidding. We need a Patreon. You know what I mean? Because like there's no money or stakes here. But my hot take is that I'm an absolute Raptors nut. So thank you all for listening to this podcast. I really do appreciate it.
It is a lot of fun.
Yeah, our listenership has been growing, and it feels great. So thank you all so much, Matt. Any kind words before we get cracking with our first guest here, Kevin Dowse?
Cheers to the next 100. Keep your dribbles to a minimum, and rock on. Here we go.
Okay, wreck it up, Matty D.
Bobby Webster to Sorta Shawarma, your meal is ready.
All right, and here we are with our first caller, which makes a ton of sense.
This makes a complete bout of sense.
That's right. Full circle here. Episode 100 of Confederacy of Dunks basketball podcast started with my man, Matt's man, everyone's man, and human being, Kevin Dowse.
Merry to everybody. I'm just waiting for my music to bleed in. I can't quite hear it.
Kevin, this is the episode of Hot Takes. So, without further ado, what's your take?
Oh my God. Okay. My take, Freddie for Prime Minister.
Whoa.
Okay, that's not even hot.
Lukewarm at best. No, my take, guys, and I think we saw it start right here in Toronto this season. Load management is the future.
Wow.
For all stars?
For all stars. I mean, I guess for whoever a team wants to do it with. If a team wants to preserve a guy. But, like, you look at someone like DeMar in his time here and how incredibly rare it was that he would play all 82 games in a season. Like, that was one of the biggest, strongest features of DeMar, is that he was always healthy.
Right.
And to me, the fact that that's such an outlier suggests there's something wrong with the 82-game season. And until the league changes that, which doesn't seem like it's happening anytime soon, I say load management is the smart play, and I think more teams are going to realize it when Kawhi goes supernova in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I mean, I love that Kawhi is your example about like how it's really going to work. And that's going to like drive it home. But I mean, you're for sure, like, you know, there's a lot of science behind this, right? We have the Spurs doing it forever. You know, Lowry was rested more than ever last year, and he had his best playoff performance.
Yeah, so, pretty unarguable. I
mean, there definitely seems to be a lot backing that. Do you think there's anything in the way? Like, so if load management is the future, how does it transition from like a player thing saying like, hey, I'm doing this, to franchise wide or even league wide?
The thing is, like, okay, so obviously you're having a problem with the ticket sales argument, you know? Right. People pay to come see the stars. I got two counters to that, though. One is that if your stars are getting injured, then you're rolling the dice anyway. And it's pretty much like, it must be like an 80 to 90% rate of stars missing a bunch of games due to injury. I feel like that's just where we are in the league right now. So that's part of it. But the other part of it is, let's get an understudy culture going in the NBA. You know what I mean? Like, what if OG is Kawhi's understudy? What if, like, Lance Stevenson is LeBron's understudy, but like they run the exact same plays with these new players, and you just like try and see the show like as it would normally be, but with someone else in the part.
Kevin, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm talking about.
It worked on Broadway.
This is crazy.
No, it's not. No,
come on.
This is so good. It's like a medium hot take to get everyone like to wet everybody's
it just
whistle.
Makes too much sense, right?
Rest the stars. So what, they play like 60 games a year?
You better believe it, Matt.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
and you'll love it.
You go on understudy night and you're like, oh my God, I went and saw High School Musical, but Zac Efron wasn't there. But like his understudy was incredible. Who was it? Bryan Cranston. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you know,
That's a serious understudy.
we have the G League, right?
Yeah. We've got expanded rosters.
We have expanded rosters, two-way contracts.
But you know what's going to
More
happen? Everyone's
talent
going to be
than
like,
ever.
Michael Jordan wasn't on load management. Magic. Abdul-Jabbar. Kareem.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked how you said that.
The game wasn't as good then.
Whoa.
And I mean, I feel
Another hot take.
like Jabbar is kind of his own thing, but you know, I feel like a safe counter to that is Michael Jordan 13 seasons, Magic Johnson 10 seasons.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
And you got
And also, Kareem was the only guy doing yoga in the league at the time, so that's like a massive edge.
Oh, yeah. We all want LeBron at like 42 playing, right? And this is probably how you do it.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. But start him at 20 on load management. Maybe he plays till he's like 75.
I mean, LeBron is not the best example for load
I know.
management either, though. He started when he was a teen,
Yeah.
and then also, you know, plays a shit ton of basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's also the best ever, though, right?
Yes, or debatably
it.
so, I think.
I do
You
like that
heard it.
Kawhi is patient zero for this load management, it
Yeah.
seems like.
Yeah,
Yeah, it seems
Kawhi
like
just
the
emerging from a sarcophagus, beard down to his knees, stepping onto the court for the playoffs.
I also like how load management just comes with like players looking more wizardly.
Yeah. Yeah,
For
they
sure.
definitely do.
For sure. Or Apocalypse from X-Men, one of the two.
Wait, so either they're more beardly or they're like more like a robot that's like a giant?
Yeah, a guy who can change size and like make his arms turn into stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
so-
Kev, watch out. You hear that?
What is that? That sounds ominous.
Are you all right?
I don't even know if he can hear that.
Did he
I
hear
actually
it?
can only just barely hear these sound effects.
Yeah, well, it's extremely loud
Gotta
on my
turn it
end.
up. Yeah, I'll turn it
I
up.
heard the ticking, and then I don't know what happened after the ticking, but I assume it was bad for Kev.
Basically, a giant explosion only in my ears.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Well, Kev, we got a ton of more hot takes to get through, so we got to let you go. But thanks, dude.
All right. Congratulations on 100. I love you, boys. You both
Congratulations to you too, buddy.
Lindsane in the membrane, Lindsane in the brain, Lindsane in the membrane, Lindsane in the brain.
All righty.
Oh.
Okay, here we go. Guest number 2. I'm super excited for her hot take. She's always one of the funniest guests on the pod, and I'm a big fan. Give it up at home for Cathryn Naiker. There you are, Cathryn, and her very cool song. Cathryn, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm starting to think this idea was really bad, but no. No, it's gonna be good because your take's gonna be hot. What's your hot take?
Yeah, a slightly controversial opinion here,
You ready
but
for it?
my take is that Nick Nurse is very hot.
Oh.
Okay, that's a pretty hot take because I don't know if that's anyone's go-to hot guy. I guess just give me a bit of a walkthrough. What's hot about Nick?
Okay, well, I mean, first of all, oh my God, where do I start? Okay, so first of all, he is 51 years old, and frankly, I think he looks good for his age. Gonna go out on a limb,
Right, so he's
I think
looking
he looks
youthful.
Good for his
Yeah,
age. Yeah, I thought he was like 45. You know,
yeah.
so he's doing well for himself there. Let's talk about his jackets. Okay,
Ooh,
his jackets
okay,
are
sure.
always so nice. And even when you're kind of looking at him and you're like, what is he wearing? I'm like, no, I appreciate that he'll take a risk.
Yeah, he's had some pretty bright, like for Craig Sager's, like the anniversary of his death, he wore the ridiculous jacket, but he's also just worn some other silly jackets on like ESPN days.
Yeah. It seems like he doesn't
yeah.
ask for anybody's input, which I like. Like
Yes, he usually has some kind of a pinstripe, some sort of a texture.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a vest. There's always a pocket square. I appreciate it.
he would go through Mr. Dressup's like trunk and just put whatever on, and we have to accept it.
Okay, Cathryn, I'm not trying to grill you on this take, but
You can.
okay, well, can we start with his goatee? What's up with his goatee?
Okay, so I've stared at his face for like a while.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's just the type of guy that just doesn't grow like a beard very well, but just has like when his goatee is like freshly shaven, it's nice. Like, honestly, my obsession has gotten to the point where like friends will message me and be like, did you notice Nick Nurse shaved today? And I'm like, yes, I noticed, and thank you for noticing.
See, I haven't gotten there yet, but
when it's fresh, it's nice. But sometimes he'll kind of let it go for a bit, and like, oh my God, like leading up to the All-Star break, his facial hair was looking a bit rough, and I was like concerned for him.
Okay.
But since it's like, I think it's gotten better.
All right. You're really, doing a good job of describing like a respectable man. But like what takes Nurse, you know what I mean? What takes Nurse from being like a dignified man to being like straight up hot? Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, is it the way he wears the jacket? Is it like, do you think maybe he can dance or something and nobody knows?
I have a feeling Nick Nurse can't dance, okay, which is a knock on him, and that's fair. But one thing he does I really like if you ever watch like his post game pressers, and like they'll ask him questions, he's just like if he's talking to Paul Jones, you'll be like, well, Jonesy, or like when he's talking to Doug Smith, he's like, right, Doug, and like he always addresses them by their name and gives them like this deep eye contact, which I really like. And
he learned that from Casey.
Oh, did he?
Casey was big on the like, oh, yeah, of course, Doug. Okay. James, you go ahead.
He did get that from Casey. That's fair. Well, maybe Casey has swagger I haven't noticed because he's always wearing an oversized suit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not here to defend Casey's suits.
I think that he needs to be a little bit more Eric Balfour with his goatee. I want a little more penciled on.
Listen, nobody knows who Eric Balfour is.
I think some of our listeners know who Eric Balfour is.
So wait, let's go back to Nick Nurse. Are you digging like his coach, like I'm the coach kind of baseball cap look, or do you like when he's showing everyone his hair for the bright lights?
So the baseball cap look, it like sometimes like his hair will stick out of it, and then that's a really bad look. Right. But when his hair's tucked into the cap, I don't mind it. I do think he looks better with his glasses though than without. I think the glasses really suit him.
I think so too. He looks smart as hell in those.
I mean, let's fast forward.
Beautiful blue eyes, I must say.
I agree.
If we end up having the parade after we win the finals, what is Nick wearing to the parade when he's sitting in the back of that convertible?
He's got to be firing water, right? He's got a water cannon of some kind.
Okay, I don't have high hopes for what he would wear. I think he would wear like a polo shirt.
I think he's like he'd be like
he
tap
just
out
wakes
gear.
up and puts a polo shirt on.
No, it'd be all tap out gear.
I think it'll be like he's a dad. Like I think he's just gonna have like a very dad kind of shirt on, or it might just be Raptors warm up gear.
Fair enough.
It would be Raptors
like
warm up gear.
summertime.
Okay, Cathryn, I don't know if you can hear that.
Yeah. Oh.
You're gonna disappoint everyone, Matt.
Everybody's phone explodes.
So much I could have said. I'm sorry.
You know what? We'll have you back on, and we'll really.
To be honest,
we'll have you back on, and we'll.
Sexual to be.
What's that, sorry?
I said I didn't know how sexual to be about Nick Nurse.
Listen, okay, next time we have you on, it's going to be a lot more sexual about Nick Nurse. Nick needs to know.
Okay. Nick needs to know. Okay.
Cathryn, thanks for being a guest, and thanks for doing this 100th episode.
My pleasure.
Could I get the Raptor to the OVO Athletic Center? You forgot your Presto card.
Okay. All right. Guest number 3. I'm a big fan of having him on the podcast. He knows a lot about basketball. We agree on a lot, but what we don't agree on is always good conversation. Give it up at home for Brian Kimmel. Brian.
Hi.
How you doing, man? Thanks for doing the 100th episode of this podcast.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
It's our honor. But yeah, I guess without further ado, I don't know what your take is yet, and I've got a little bit from most people, but there's a couple mystery takes. So yeah, without further ado, what's your hot take?
Okay, so I actually have two takes.
Ooh.
If that's cool. One that's pessimistic and one that's optimistic. So you want them both, or?
I want them both.
Okay, so what do you want first? The pessimism or the optimism?
Let's do pessimism.
Okay, so the pessimism is that if the New Orleans Pelicans don't hit a home run in the upcoming draft, they're going to relocate within 2 years.
Whoa.
I was just in New Orleans for Mardi Gras and my friend's birthday, and got to go to the Raptors Pels game there. Great game. It's a cool building, yada, yada, yada. They're just really not selling tickets. They got to compete with the Saints and LSU. Not sure if Gail Benson cares about basketball.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize she was the owner of the Pels. Obviously, there's a whole situation with AD, which sucks. It just, happened in the worst way possible. And they need a transcendent sort of player. They need like some kind of superstar to drum up the interest in that market to get people coming to these games.
Do you think that the NBA gives them Zion?
I would love for that to happen. I feel like that city deserves Zion. It's a fucking awesome city, and I would pay for them to lose that franchise.
Yeah, me too.
Someone like an RJ Barrett, maybe. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that Zion is going to have the best career out of anyone in the draft. They just need someone that that has that star power that can help them sell some tickets, and obviously winning games helps as well.
Yeah, I think you're right though. New Orleans is in a tough spot. From Chris Paul to AD, the NBA blocked their trade, so I don't think they can save them again if they're headed that way.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It's just a really unfortunate sort of situation for them to be in, and I guess it just boils down to winning, really, for the players wanting to stay there and whatnot, because it's an awesome city. Like, everyone I talk to that's been there, like, pretty much says it's their favorite city to visit. And, like, I agree. I love that town so much. Yeah, those people are not looking too great for them right now.
Yeah. At least you got to see the Boucher block in person, though.
I did get to see that in person, and the place. The arena went crazy when that block happened. It was like watching a Raptors home game. I would say the Raptors fans definitely were outnumbering the Pels fans, or if not outnumbering them, it was almost an even split, I think. And there was definitely a lot more noise being made for the Raptors that night.
Fair.
Oh.
Well, bye, New Orleans.
Yeah, what's that?
I said bye New Orleans, I guess.
Maybe. Well, I don't know. Hopefully not. Maybe AD has a change of heart and says, you know what, let's try to work this out, and things start, cookie starts coming the right way for them, and things work out. So, I don't know. Maybe we can be optimistic about it as well.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What's your optimistic take?
The optimistic take is that Pascal Siakam is a future Hall of Famer. I think we've talked about this before, and
I'm all about this.
No surprise. Yeah, but to me, I feel pretty confident in saying that, which means I probably just jinxed the guy, which sucks. But the guy has no holes in his game, and he just keeps getting better and better. He's an incredible athlete. He defends. He shoots well, and he's only getting better. He's not a liability at the free throw line. He can handle a rock. He can pass. He can finish in traffic.
Yeah, he's a remarkable guy.
What else is there to say? The only thing is that he's not really that featured guy, that number one guy on the team, at least not yet. And we don't know if he has that in him. But
right, does he have the pull up three or the spot up? Playmaking?
When you look at the improvement of his game, it's just absolutely staggering. And then you take into consideration a relatively little time he's been actually playing. I mean, frankly, I think he's a lot more talented than a lot of guys that are in the Hall of Fame. So, I don't know. That's my take.
No, that's a good take, man. Anything that's pro. I was going to respond, but you know what? You summed it up well enough. Like, the only thing I was going to add is that he's the fastest guy in the league. Like, on top of all that good stuff you said, he's fast as hell.
Yeah, and he got handled by Blake the other day. Obviously, like, no one's perfect, right? You know, he's maybe going to have problems going against more physical big guys, but, you know, the league's trending away from that, obviously, and, you know, we're going to see fewer and fewer of those types of players. And, you know, Pascal kind of represents the future of the league, I think.
I think you're right, man. And sky's the limit for Pascal. But
100%.
I got to keep moving on and get more hot takes, but I'm sure I'll have you back on the podcast soon.
Yeah, man. Cheers.
Brian, it's always a pleasure, man. Thank you.
Attention fans at the Scotiabank Arena. Stop what you're doing and give Bobby Webster some respect.
Okay, I'm here with my buddy, notorious, famous cheater at bump in basketball.
The bump champ.
Fave of the podcast. Give it up at home for Alan Shane Lewis.
No asterisks on that bump champion. I'm still bump champion, baby.
Fair enough.
My hot take is the Boston Celtics are better without Kyrie Irving. I think Kyrie Irving is an impotence to their growth. I think they took a large step backwards in their season. I know people can also point to Gordon Hayward, but Gordon Hayward has started to believe or understand that he is a role player and his position is on the bench. When you take away as many shots away as Kyrie did, you lost the growth of Terry Rozier, also Jason Tatum, which everyone thought was going to take a giant leap forward. He's taken a minuscule one. So I think the gravity and also the locker room poison that is Kyrie Irving. I think if the Celtics wanted to go better or go bigger in the future, I think they should just let him go and let the young rooks and or sophomore players or juniors get their runs and get their shots in, because I think when the ball didn't have it didn't have to go through Kyrie, and when it was just like it didn't have a plan of action, it whizzed around, everyone got their shot off. I think they were a better team. They're a more effective team, and they took off, Giants. They took the Cleveland Cavaliers to 7 games, and this year they're barely making playoffs in the top 4. So, yeah, I think Kyrie Irving is definitely a hindrance on that team.
Okay, I agree with you. That's a scorching hot take.
Yeah.
And I agree with you so hard that I'm just going to make a devil's advocate case so you can just double down on this hot take. So what if they're not better without Kyrie? They just need a coach who can actually coach a superstar.
Oh, wow.
So I'm reversing the take.
Brad Stevens.
Yeah, I'm saying, what if they're better without Brad Stevens? What if they need a guy who knows how to handle a superstar? Like, you got D'Antoni and Harden, you got Kerr and Curry, right? Even maybe Malone and Jokic. There's something to be said about it's a players' league. It's not about, you ran this complicated system in Butler, or, you ran this crazy Princeton offense. It's like, well, guess what? When you get to the NBA, these guys are powerful. I still agree with you, but I'm trying to push you to further slam Kyrie, I guess.
Yeah, I can also slam Brad Stevens too. He can get it. But only way that I see Brad Stevens getting fired or getting blamed for this season if they go 0-4 in the playoffs.
Right.
I think I could see them totally restructuring, because 100%. Brad Stevens is a college coach, and college coaches they coach players that have at longest a 4-year cycle, so they're not really playing or creating systems that are based around one player. And the NBA, it's different. You have a player, and you usually play around that player's strengths, and you make a team around it. But I beg to differ that Kyrie is not a player that you can build a team after. I don't think Kyrie is the number one option. He's just not that type of leader. That when it comes down to it, yes, he has the heart, the gold behind him and all that different stuff, but you can see he doesn't big up his players. He looks for he doesn't see the team as the team. He said he wanted the reins, and he took over the reins, and he made a mistake. He realized that, being outside of LeBron's, coverage, a lot of heat comes on him, praise goes up, but, the trickle hate, starts from the top 2 as well. So I don't think Kyrie Irving is that player that you could really rest the team around, to be honest.
Right.
He's number 2. He's the number 2 option.
Do you think it starts and ends with playmaking? and his style of play? Because if you look at a guy like Curry, he can score and seemingly get others involved. Like,
he can, because Curry can go off the ball. You have to, because there's so many different 3-point shooters out there that the gravity on that court is just like you can't stick on a man. There's so much space.
Right.
There's so many different things you pick your poison. But Kyrie needs to dribble the ball. He likes to initiate offenses. He likes to have a stank on the last 5 minutes of every game. And you know what?
Yeah.
His stank is on a whole bunch of these games that they've lost by under 10 points.
His stank is like literally going to be in my, like, that phrase is going to be in my head for the rest of the day. Just because it was rolling so naturally.
Yeah. I think he's a poison in the dressing room. I think that.
Wow, Matt's with you.
Yeah, I definitely think Kyrie Irving is. He's going to the Knicks.
Oh wow, Matt.
There it is.
So with Kyrie, do you think is there a world maybe, Alan, where he could kind of work with Smart and Rozier and share the floor more, or is it kind of like he needs to be removed for them to hit their defensive peak?
I think to make up for what you've lost this year, you got to lose them in the summer and maybe try to attract a more team-oriented star, because this is a star league, and you can't win a championship without stars. And as many wins as those young crew might get next season, if they had this extra year to work together, at the end of the day, if you want to take it all the way home, you're still going to need a star. You're going to do that anchor. So if they can get somebody like DeMarcus Cousins or Klay Thompson, Klay Thompson would probably do excellent in that. A bunch of running guys shooting 3-pointers. Guy who doesn't want to dribble the ball that much, like that would probably work perfectly for them.
Should the Celtics admit they made a mistake and go after Markelle Fultz? that was the joke. Alan, that's all the time we got. Thanks for the hot take, buddy.
Anytime you want them scorching hot takes, I'm here for it.
Woo! All right, talk soon, pal.
All right, man. Have yourself a good night.
All right, see you, man.
I just bombed the Olive Garden that he was recording from.
No, he's for sure. I was actually at Second City.
I mean, they're not an up-and-coming team. They're here. We the North.
Okay, let's keep this train rolling.
Episode 100.
Episode 100.
100.
His first ever time on the podcast was the last podcast. Yeah,
pod we did.
That's right. It was number 99.
Yeah.
It was such a lovely guest. We decided to have him back right away. Give it up at home for Ryan Henry.
I got the musical drop again.
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm doing well. Again, I'm a big fan of the musical drop, so thank you very much for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Well, is that your hot take you like? You're the only person in the world who likes our musical drops?
1 in 10 guests.
Yeah, that is definitely my hot take. But my actual hot take
give it to me.
I am sick and tired of hearing about LeBron James. But more, I'm actually defending him right now because I just can't stand the fact that 27.5, 8 rebounds and 8 assists is considered bad, and he is no longer the greatest player in the NBA anymore. I think the Lakers dumpster fire, which I alluded to last time on your show, is actually due to Magic Johnson.
Right. So
I'm putting full blame on Lakers management. This season's been dreadful because they just sold the entire team. They took all these young guys, these young talented players, and just morally destroyed them with trade rumors. They let it happen, and now everyone's looking at maybe we should trade LeBron James. And I think that's asinine to even think so.
Right. So just to, I mean, I'm a huge LeBron fan, big witness. So in general, I've just enjoyed watching every aspect of his career. And I feel like even from the very beginning, he's been overly criticized. So when it's actual criticism, I find it kind of tough with LeBron because it has to be rather nuanced. So for you, just to I'm just going to throw some counters here. Do you think LeBron deserves any blame for any front office movement, or is that all Magic for you?
You know what? The funny thing is, I'm not even a LeBron fan. You can ask around. I'm a Dirk fan, and clearly they've had their run-ins. I genuinely disagree with every analyst that is coming out saying that, LeBron's to blame, LeBron's to blame. I think this is all from the front end, from the management side, who let these rumors foster, who just, kept putting out names and not coming in and just saying, no, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. And in terms of LeBron's play, it's like, come on, like the guy's 34 years old. He's finally for like what? How many years in this league is actually injured for a long period of time? And I think he has the sore groin thing going on right now. And he's still putting up numbers. He's still doing 27-8, and that's considered for any other player in this league. 27-8 would be an MVP season, and we'd be talking about them every day. I don't think his play has deteriorated. Yeah, you know what? Is he out of his prime? I'll say that, but I don't understand why anyone's saying trade LeBron James. I think all other teams in this league would trade for LeBron James instead of trading away.
Yeah, I mean, trade LeBron James is downright first of all, it would be a PR.
Wayne Gretzky got traded. Anybody can get traded.
I guess so, but that would be a PR nightmare. That alone would be nuts. A disaster. But I mean, I think there's some stuff to be said there about the him slowing down on defense. But again, that hasn't really been the rosters he's been on. We get to see Kevin Durant in Golden State aging gracefully because he's playing with such talented players. And I think if you're LeBron and you have to do a lot of stuff, then you kind of have to start to pick and choose. Am I gonna get 27-8-8? Or am I going to get 22-6-6 and play better defense? Yeah. And I don't necessarily think the version where he plays better defense means more winning.
Do you think that he's given in to the fact that they're not going to make the playoffs and that he's like, you know what? I want the playoffs off. I want to watch the playoffs. I'm going to up my Twitter game. He's going to be commentating on everything. Get ready, everybody. I
haven't thought about LeBron in the playoffs and not in the playoffs. That is actually probably going to be pretty fun.
So it's going to be interesting for sure.
So are you mostly coming from the angle that he's overly criticized, or just in terms of this what's happened with the Lakers this year?
I think he's taking a lot of criticism. And just this year with what's happened, the stupid stuff I'm hearing right now is, he sat too far away from the team on the bench. Are we really analyzing how far someone sits away from the bench? I don't care how far he sits away from the bench. I'm not going to trade him because of that. He just wanted to take a seat. The team was losing. Whatever, get over it.
No, you got to read into all the little
He
signs.
might have ate a bad burrito that night. He was being nice to the teammates.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. You know what?
Matt goes straight to indigestion.
There you go. I just you go online and it's they want to trade him. He's sitting too far away from the bench. I think Clyde Drexler, an NBA legend, came out and was criticizing the seating arrangement and what he was doing with his teammates. And I'm just that's not basketball. That's not basketball.
He's definitely the GOAT of being scrutinized.
Yeah. Look what he's doing on the court. And you know what? His numbers are great and it's not resulting in wins, but are we really going to not just ignore the amount of injuries the Lakers have actually suffered with Lonzo and Ingram and a new team? This is the first season. Magic, to his credit, I think Magic knew that this was going to be a write-off first year. And I think he actually came out and said that, this is probably going to be a 2-season, 3-season kind of project. And I think he even mentioned something about quitting if by the second year he didn't have at least 2 All-Stars. So, you know what? It's next season that I feel we can really criticize LeBron or criticize the Lakers. This year's a bit of a write-off.
Ryan, I don't know if you heard that, but that means we're out of time.
Well, we're out of time.
LeBron is overly criticized, and Magic's not taking enough heat. Yeah. I like it. I like the hot take.
Needs more heat.
Dude, thanks so much for doing this special 100th version of the podcast, and I'll have you back soon.
Bobby Webster to the NBA front office. Your GM of the Year award is ready.
Okay, I'm here with yet another favorite of the podcast. We're celebrating big time here. Used to be in LA, now he's in Toronto. Give it up at home for Andre DePape.
Hello.
Hello. Your funky frog song is back.
Funky frog.
Love it.
Andre, how you doing, man?
Congratulations, guys. You made it.
Thank you.
Centennial.
Yeah, you're the first.
You're the first person to
congratulate us. So that's huge.
Well, I always believed in you. Always.
I mean, that's the hottest, and that's the hottest take my heart's ever heard. You know. Okay, dude. What's your take?
Okay, so I think there's a lot of spicy takes that have been floated around in our pre-production to this episode.
That's right.
I wanted to take a take that was completely built off of like pretty much podcast hype of different NBA circles.
I'm already loving this.
Therefore, my take is that the Atlanta Hawks are going to be fighting for not only a playoff spot, but home court heading into the playoffs for next season.
Wow.
I've been just hearing everybody gush about how amazing Trae Young is, and there's some guy on the team named Herter that people are pretty stoked on. John Collins is a solid NBA guy. I know that.
That's right.
And then it looks like they're gonna, so that's the like premise where everybody right now on the NBA podcast circle is kind of going like, ooh, Trae Young, this guy's good. And, oh, John Collins, he's pretty great. And then heading into the offseason, these guys are going to be teed up for a top 5, top 6 pick.
Right.
Seems like that's the top of the draft is where the good stuff is this year. And then they have something like $40 million of cap space. So they could be adding who knows who from the free agent market. So I think they're going to be a lot more competitive next year and leapfrog teams like the Wizards and the Magic and the Pistons and a lot of these average teams. I think the Hawks are going to make a big jump next year. So that's my hot take.
This take is so hot. This take is so hot.
How hot?
It's so hot that when Andre was telling me the take before he actually came on the episode, he said that the Hawks were going to finish in 5th. And now that's changed to home court. So I know you've been thinking about this a lot.
This is insane.
Here's the deal, though. It makes a lot of sense. Like 6, 7, 8 in the East is so bad.
Yeah.
That really, if they're the next team up, that means they're probably going to be in 7th.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're really just saying is that they're going to, get better faster than like Brooklyn, or Detroit, or maybe Indiana takes a step back, or maybe one of the like the 4 powerhouse teams, something happens. But
that's the framework for sure. Is like it's a bit of a long shot, but it's not like the teams that are sitting 8 to 4 or 8 to 5 anyways are that impressive.
I think the way that happens is, let's say they get second or first, and they get Barrett or Zion or something, and then they just start out with just on such a tear, and maybe they've signed some guy like Middleton. They maxed him out because nobody else would. And they just have a lot more talent, and they're doing some savvy drafting, whatever. And Trae Young's looking like a good second player. Zion's looking like the franchise. Around the trade deadline, they're in 7th or 8th place, and maybe their GM is just like, let's not tank for another year. Like, we got to go for it now. Mm-hmm. I think that's the path, right?
Yeah, and we all know the Atlanta Hawks GM, Travis Schlenk. We all know he knows what he's doing. And their head coach, Lloyd Pierce. Sorry, I'm just reading these on Google.
No, sorry, I'm glad you're reading that. Because
these are some of the best running this franchise. I have totally unfounded faith that these guys are going to make it work.
Now, just for whoever's been listening to this whole podcast, and if you have been, thank you so much, and for putting up with us. But Alan Shane Lewis earlier kept saying, "Put some schlenk on him." Was he talking about Travis Schlenk? I don't think he was. Hey, Matt?
Yeah, he did say that.
I think it's some other slang I don't know yet. You know what I mean? I think he was saying put some stank on him, but I was kind of hearing like schlenk, like Travis Schlenk.
Hey.
I hope that's what he was saying.
Sorry, that's just a bunch of confusing poo in the middle of your take.
I mean, if this general manager has enough gravitas to build up his own slang term, I'm all in. I'm all in.
Oh yeah. So who else? Sorry, go ahead.
You know what? I totally forgot. They also have the Mavericks pick because of the Doncic thing, right?
That's right. So is that next year?
So even if they don't get the number 1 or 2 pick, they could combine those 2 picks and maybe trade up. So, why not? Why not the Hawks? You know?
Why not the Hawks?
Why not the Hawks?
Not the Hawks. Why not the Hawks?
Okay, you know what? We've had a bunch of like ticking time bombs and the bomb exploding at a funny time. Yeah. Why not the Hawks was a good time for that to explode.
Yeah. Special thanks to the Matthew Good Band and being inspired by Hello Time Bomb.
Okay, that's too many Matthew Good Band references on the pod. Andre, thank you so much. Thanks for doing this pod, and we'll have you back soon.
Get that garbage out of here!
All right. I'm super excited to have her back for this special episode. Everyone at home, please give it up for Jess Nicolette. That's right.
Hi.
Hello. The denim god is back. How you doing, Jess?
Thank you. I'm doing very good. Super happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm super happy to have you. Super happy to have you, honestly. I don't speak like perfectly, but if you're listening to the pod and you want me to speak perfectly, you're like, why are you doing that? Yeah, you're at the wrong place. So Jess, what's your take?
Okay, hot take. The Bucks bounce in the second round.
Oh, that's scorching.
Wow.
We got a hot take, ladies and gentlemen. The Bucks get bounced in the second round. I think it's pretty hot.
Take? Because all right, okay. I feel like it's rational, and I definitely have heard other people also be like, yeah, I think so too. But I don't know. Maybe, hey, you know what? I'll have to stir the pot. Let's be controversial.
Well,
they're definitely getting bounced.
I'll say this: there's a lot of Boston fans who would say that's not controversial because if Boston plays them, they're going to beat them. But I think most people think Milwaukee's better than Philly.
I agree. I definitely agree. Regular season, totally agree. But maybe this is, I don't know. I just they've never got past the first round. I just do not see them blowing past the first round, going 2 rounds, I'm just no. You don't go from nothing to everything.
So you got to earn it. That's where you're coming from.
Not even earn it. It's just I know it doesn't seem like it. And I'm well, what's the difference? It's you're playing all the time. You should be playing hard all the time. But that's really not the case. The playoffs are really that is a second gear. And I feel like Milwaukee doesn't have a second gear. They're amazing. They're fucking amazing. But I feel like they've been playing amazing and they've been playing to their max capacity, which is really great. But if that's their max capacity, they don't have anywhere else to to get better. There's no better.
Do you think that there's any?
That's just what I think.
No. That's that's why you're here. Do you think there's any similarities between like the Budenholzer Hawks team, that was a 60-win team, and kind of had a very sharing style of play, lots of threes, and then once kind of they got a couple injuries and suffered from some adversity, they didn't really have enough kind of like to overcome that, or do you think? Well, it is different because of Giannis, right?
Giannis is like, he's an unstoppable freight train. So with him, obviously he makes the team amazing, but I don't know, man. I mean,
Middleton, Bledsoe, they're guys that have underperformed in the playoffs. And Brook Lopez has never played this style in the playoffs, right?
Sorry, go on.
No, I basically just thought I had a nice little jab at Brook Lopez, and then I leaned over and coughed. So,
wow.
Yeah, don't worry about me.
I don't appreciate But, when, I don't know, I just feel like as shitty as it is to, like, have really bad games or, like, oh, we really blew that or whatever, at least we can say, we haven't had a super smooth season. There's been ups and downs, and you've had to like work yourself around those.
Right.
We've had so many injuries that like I feel like we could really work around anything.
Yeah.
There's nothing that we haven't tried because we had to.
Yeah, this Raptors team, should be good with adversity. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, and Milwaukee hasn't had to deal with any of that. They've had a smooth, which is great. Like nobody wants to have injured players, but like they've had such a smooth ride, not having to really change anything about how they play. And I'm just like, that could be a problem.
Do you think this injury to Malcolm Brogdon is going to be like a blessing in disguise for them? Or do you think it's actually just kind of hurt them?
I definitely don't. I mean, I feel like it's kind of cutting it close. If you're going to have to like deal with an injury and have to figure out how you're going to work around that, it's like maybe you don't want that like a month before the playoffs.
Yeah, 6 to 8 weeks too, so a pretty significant injury.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just feel like it's really now is not the time to have to be figuring out how to work around something, and it's unfortunate for them, but I don't know.
But I mean,
just like I don't know. I'm not buying them. I'm sorry.
If they're actually.
Yeah.
If they're really going to lose in the second round, don't you think Pau Gasol steps in and just wins the game?
I mean, he can sure as hell try, but that old timer is not going to have that much cream in him.
Yeah, no, Pau Gasol would stand up and people would be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Sit back down. It looks like your knees are swelling up.
Yeah, like I don't think he's going to be like, don't worry, guys. Get in there.
Jess, I don't know if you heard that.
Was that a bomb?
It was a bomb. It's so clear on my end, but I think all the guests are like, what was that?
It was a hello time bomb.
Was that like the bomb went off?
Yeah, the bomb went off. Your time's up. You've given us your hot take, which is that the Bucks are going to get bounced in the second round.
Oh man,
it's happening.
I love it.
I hope so.
And yeah, you got to pay your dues. Well, we've seen Houston Rockets. We've seen a bunch of other teams that are really powerhouse teams. I think
including us. It's like, hey,
including
us. Is our time, okay? We have
that's right.
Sucked it for the past like year after year, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck everyone else. This is our time. We earned it the most.
You're damn right, Jess.
Period.
And that's from the Denim God, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, Jess, we got to keep rolling here, but we'll have you back on the podcast as soon as we can.
Awesome. Thank you so much for calling.
No problem. Thanks for joining us.
Attention all fans at the Scotiabank Arena. Repeat after me. Kawhi, please stay. Bobby Webster, I love you.
I'm here with my super bud. Love having him on the goddamn podcast, and it only makes sense that he's here for 100.
Yeah.
If you're at home, you slap something together as loud as you can for Ian Gordon.
loving it.
That song legit just got me amped. I started rocking back and forth like I was like sick or something, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Yeah, man, it's a little bit. It's also a little bit threatening somehow. Like if you heard that, you'd be like, "Somebody gonna hit me with a pipe?"
Yeah, you'll be like, "Is that it, or the clown, or what?" Like, dude, thanks for doing this special episode, our 100th.
Oh yeah.
It's less special for a pod, but whatever. Yeah, man. Yeah, just give it to me. What's your hot take?
Well, my hot take is that this year the Golden State Warriors will not win the NBA championship.
Get the heck out of town.
That is my hot take.
How dare
I just feel. Now, listen, we know that they've got on paper they're stacked and they got Cousins and everything, but there's something telling me that it's not going to be their year. There's a few reasons that I will dig into, but three-peats aren't as easy as people think they are. You know what I mean?
Right, and it will also be 4 and 5 years for them, right? And it would be their fifth time in a row going to the finals. Like I don't know who else has done that historically. It's probably like the Celtics, Lakers. That's it. I would assume.
Yeah, because the Bulls had the break there before they did. They did their 3, and then they did their 3. Again, this is winning 3 in a row is always a challenge. The teams know you better,
right?
That's one thing. Another thing is, I think if you're looking at where they stand now, if they have to play LA or Utah, those teams aren't pushovers necessarily. I don't think. Yeah, they could easily sweep them, yes, but I don't think they will. You know, I think that those teams will actually give them a go. The other thing is that if you look at how things line up, there's a chance that they could meet OKC in the second round, which they would not want to do, you know?
I mean, we all deserve just seeing Westbrook go at Durant, right?
Exactly.
Like, don't we all deserve that? Mm-hmm. Like, even if he, I could see them getting swept and then all of a sudden, like, he just like basically like Stone Cold Steve Austin like spears Durant. Like he does the thing where he's like waiting, and Stone Cold would do that. He's like scraping the ground with his foot or whatever. And I can just see him taking out Durant and then it being like a weird thing. Like, I mean, Zidane headbutted a guy in soccer. So weird stuff does happen.
Obviously they don't like each other. And again, that we do deserve that. We deserve those 2 games at Chesapeake. We really do as NBA fans. Yeah. I would think that they could get one of those 2. They might even be able to get both the 3 and 4 at Chesapeake. Who knows?
It would be very dramatic.
I mean, the Golden State Warriors are insane. They've got 3 of the most lights-out shooters on the same team at the same time. All 2 of 3 can create their own shot, and Clay is the best spot-up shooter of all time. But they also have Debo, who, I don't know, I'm not as impressed with him. And the other thing is one key cog goes down. If they have Iguodala down with a bad ankle for 2 games, that's something like, there's a lot of variables that need to come up correctly. Mm-hmm. They've also had they haven't had easy paths to the finals before, but they certainly haven't been really hard paths to finals in the past.
I agree. Like imagine Rockets and Thunder. That's pretty serious.
Yeah, like if they have to play, imagine they have to play Utah, the Rockets, or Utah Thunder Rockets. You know what I mean? And then my prediction is they win, and Houston almost beat them last year. If it wasn't for CP3's hamstring, who knows? Right? They were
the Warriors
potentially losing.
The Warriors winning as a foregone conclusion has always been a bit revisionist to me when you consider how close it was with Houston.
Absolutely.
It wasn't like it was a legit 7-game series. Like
it was. And again, if you look at what they added, they added Debo, but they did lose a few pieces. Like one of a really key player for them was McCaw, and as much as he didn't play a lot, when he played, he was a huge motor. They've got Jerebko, they've got Looney, they've got
Bogut.
But I mean, they're outside of their starting 5. They're not as threatening, I think, as in past years. Remember, they fielded a crazy lineup previous years with like David West, and like you'd get guys in there, and their second lineup would come in, and you'd be intimidated. But now it's not as intimidating. My other prediction towards this is if they make it to the final and they lose to the Raptors.
Wow. You know, this is a Raptors podcast. I was waiting for some Raptors love.
I know.
Listen, I'm not crazy either. I would love it to happen, and a drunken Toronto fan, sure, but we have a team that matches up well with them. We have a deep bench that has purpose, that has a role, that knows who they are. If we're fully healthy, we've got Gasol who can deal with.
We're the 04 We're the 04 Pistons. They're the 04 Lakers. Who says no?
Well, the other thing too is that if you look at their finals runs, they've never not had home court in the final, and there's a very good chance that if the records play out as they play out, that if they met the Raptors would have home court. It'd be the first 2 games at the Scotiabank Arena, which they haven't had to deal with before. I said Scotiabank Arena as well. This is the official podcast.
Yeah, it is. And Ian, I don't know if you heard that, but a bomb just went off in my ear. So that means
Scotiabank Arena.
Okay. Matt's playing all of the weirdest sound bites for you. I don't know what you can hear and what you can't hear.
Yeah, I love it, man. Well, listen, if that's my time, all I'll say is they were the greatest team in NBA history, and they lost to the Cavs, 73-9. My point is they can lose again. Draymond and Debo go at each other's throats. KD gets in there. All you need to do is put them. I don't think they've faced enough adversity. If you put them down 2-0, you could beat them.
Hey man, I'm with you. I said that they're only going to win 2 titles with Durant. I had nothing to back that up when I said that, but I'm sticking to it.
Looking like it.
I love it.
Ian, we'll have you back as soon as we can.
Absolutely, guys. Love the pod. I'll see you guys soon.
Awesome. Right. See you, buddy.
And how many balls could a ball chucker chuck if a ball chucker could chuck balls?
This is Adam Silver.
Okay, I'm here with my buddy, just a magical comedy legend. Give it up at home. You know him, you love him, Ben Miner. Yeah, buddy. Thanks for doing this this special podcast, Ben.
I feel like that beat needs a Freddie Rivas freestyle over it.
Whoa!
Wow, I'll drop some stuff over that. it would be
doesn't have to be this time. It could be next time.
Yeah,
so yeah.
It's gonna be something along the lines of like, I really like Ben, really like Ben Miner.
Nice.
Yeah. That's my sick freestyle. So, dude, how you doing? What's your basketball take?
Oh man, I don't think we need Kawhi.
Okay, this is.
Oh boy.
Honestly, I don't know why I would doubt it, but this is the hottest take. You're number 9, and this is the hottest take so far by a long shot. So we don't need Kawhi. I'm gonna let you go for a sec.
That's different from saying I don't want Kawhi.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I think that we don't need him in the sense that the team around him is a lot better than anybody thought, except for me, right? I kept saying they're a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, I've said from like a long time ago that I didn't understand why people kept framing the Raptors as tanking. As soon as we had Siakam and OG, it's like, this team's too good to tank. We just played the Knicks the other night. OG's better than any other players. Mm-hmm. And that's OG
being MIP this summer.
Yeah, exactly. Are you talking? Go ahead, sir.
My buddy Sean out in Vancouver, Sean Devlin, he made a really good point that's really sunk in with me in that I think that Kawhi had a real impact on OG and Pascal, both on the court and off, in that Kawhi lost his father at a young age, as did OG recently this season, and Pascal when he was in college.
Yep.
And I think there's probably some kind of bond that developed there.
For sure.
And
Fred
I think that's helped develop those two guys.
Yeah, I could see like Kawhi having a super like positive effect on those guys, especially from, I mean, that's such a very specific, tragic thing to relate to someone, you know?
And they're also, OG especially is a very similar player to him. And I think now we see what OG's capable of. He's got his head a little bit more straight. He's processing things probably a little bit more now. And I think that the impact Kawhi's had on this team has been phenomenal, and whether he remains on the team or not, I think these two guys are going to grow into the cornerstones that we think they are. And if Kawhi doesn't go stay with the team, I think they're going to have real options. I mean, Marc Gasol either opts into his player deal and signs back with the team, or opts out to go chase a ring somewhere. And if he's going to opt out to go chase a ring somewhere, there's no reason why he couldn't opt out to sign for less money in Toronto. And then maybe Butler signs back with Philly. There's less room there for them to sign Tobias Harris. And the Raptors get Harris back and possibly sign and trade the Clippers with Gallinari come to Toronto. So now we got Gallinari, we got Harris, we got Danny Green, we got Lowry, we've got Ibaka, we've got OG, we got Siakam. Pretty deep team.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of, like, I remember when we first signed Kawhi, it was all about will he stay, and I feel like that's fair as a first look, but also there's a lot of different things you can do when you have a player of Kawhi's magnitude. Like, even if he's like, I'm out of town, and you're like, okay, can we sign and trade you? Even when you can sign, look, the Clippers got so much after Chris Paul said, I want out. They still they got, Beverly, Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell. Sorry, go on.
What about the nice Canadian kid, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? He's worth $50 million to Kawhi. So Kawhi wants to get that extra $50 million that the Raptors can offer him. If they were to re-sign him under this contract, he'll do a sign and trade. And then maybe, old SAG comes to Toronto and he becomes the heir to Lowry, because this kid can play. And it'd be nice to finally have a homegrown player. So there's another option. Listen, option A is Kawhi coming back. I think that's the best option, but I don't think this team needs him to be an elite team in the East.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, wait, so are you saying if Kawhi, are you saying we can be an elite team in the East regardless of whether Kawhi stays or goes? Yes, I totally agree, and I think that Messiah has put us in a position to win a championship now, but also to compete for a very, very long time. Like, I think people are starting to come around on Siakam and realize that he's kind of just as good as Tatum or Ingram. He's a couple years older, but if you think about it from a contract perspective, that actually means it's going to be cheaper to keep him.
Siakam and OG are better than Tatum and Brown. There, I said it.
Oh, I love it. I love hearing it, and because I believe it, but I also feel like I hate the Celtics so much that I always got to temper my insane kind of like.
Well, I don't know that there's a GM in basketball that would trade OG and Siakam for Tatum and Brown.
Yeah, that would be a pretty strange trade in general, but I feel like Siakam, at least, I think if you had Siakam, you at least got to hang on to him for a year to see how good he's going to get.
Siakam will be the man on this team.
Yeah, do you see Siakam kind of surpassing Kawhi at any point?
I think he's going to be a different player than Kawhi. He's different all around. I mean, he's all about the footwork, spin move, his motor going up and down the floor. For the guy his size, he moves like the wind, man. It's beautiful to watch. Yeah. And he's not quite the ISO guy that Kawhi is. He integrates his teammates a little bit better and does a little bit more help. So I don't know. I think that he's going to be a guy that develops into entirely his own player. If anything, I see him as like a hybrid kind of Giannis Pippen. Not Pippen, Giannis early Rodman, like Bad Boys Rodman. Just in terms of that motor, that energy, that coachability, that willingness to do anything on the court. And I just think he's lengthy and super athletic and capable of tons of things on the court, just like Giannis is.
Okay, Ben, I don't know if you could hear that, but our ticking time bomb went off.
I heard something.
That was Matthew Good.
Dude, thanks so much for coming on the pod and hitting us up with that Kawhi take. And we got to keep moving, but we'll have you back on the pod soon.
Paging Bobby Webster.
Okie doke. I don't know why I said okie doke.
That's good.
This is the 10th caller. Matt, we've made it to the end here. Of our special 100th episode of Confederacy of Dunks basketball podcast.
Yeah.
Last but not least, let's get gritty here with my sister-in-law. Give it up at home for I Test Elisa. This is Elisa walking across the Gardner, blindfolded, Frogger style.
Jeez.
Strutting. It's called strutting.
Elisa, how you doing? The timer is on. What's your hot take?
Okay, my hot take, truly of my own opinion, because I am, you know how I am, eye test all the way.
Yeah.
I think Jeremy Lin plays better defense than offense. There, I said it.
Matt, can you please hang up the phone on Elisa and just send her a message, let her know she's banned.
Okay, I know. It's a very contradictory theory because he's not known for having the best defensive skills. And, you know, he's been known in his career as being a very flashy offensive
Is he known
player.
for playing any defense ever?
I don't know. You tell me. I know. I mean, when he was traded to the Raps, they were clearly like, defense is going to go down because he's bad and blah, blah, blah. But hey, the offense is going to balance it out. So what a score it was to get him.
Yeah. He's pretty tall. I'll say that.
He went off for 20 last night, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. He went up for 20 in garbage time minutes against the Knicks.
Yeah,
Let's be
it's true.
clear. Like
It's
everybody's celebrating his 20-point game against like C squad Knicks is not
right.
good. In a lineup where he was playing with like Boyd and I don't know, Boucher or Lloyd, whatever his name is, Boucher. Anyways, okay. Here's the reasons why I feel like. Not only is he a decent defender, like I think that he, because of his size, especially if he's defending a point guard, he has the general ability to at least stay with them and get his arms up and protect passing. And he seems to be at least rotating properly on the Raps defensive schemes. There's not too many like mistakes in terms of the defensive end for me, at least that I've seen. Would you disagree, Freddie? Like
that's actually quite fair.
Right, he hasn't embarrassed himself on defense yet for the Raptors, I would argue.
Yeah, and I would even say, you know, just to add to your point, he did really, really well when we played Boston. Like he did a great job on Kyrie.
Oh yeah,
defending Kyrie.
Yeah. He's got the energy to keep up and rotate and all those kinds of things. So I'm pleased as you could be with a you know, somebody defending the two less, but, you know, we'll get there.
Right.
But more importantly, the offensive skill that I see from Jeremy Lin has been mediocre at best. I know he's new and learning the schemes, learning the plays. He was thrown into that backup PG role because Freddie was out. It's a tough thing to manage, but it's kind of clear now that he takes too many shots. He's not looking to pass the ball as much as I would hope. And he has quite a few misses in terms of the offensive setups. There's times when he's playing with Lowry when he clearly should be rolling in a certain direction and he's not. And I'm worried because he's been touted as this, not just a good offensive player, but like a smart basketball player. And I just don't see that yet. My eye test just isn't there yet.
Yeah, I mean,
20-point game.
I think the eye test isn't there, but also like the stats aren't there for Jeremy Lin. He's shooting something like 10% from three as a Raptor.
No, stop it. Not 10%.
Or it was like 15%. It's bad.
No.
I think it must have gotten a little bit better, but it's been pretty dreadful. So as far as Jeremy Lin though, he was a guy we picked up after he got bought out. Elisa, do you think he can, like, you know, make an impact on a game defensively? Like, is there any path to him playing in the playoffs for a defensive purpose or because of McCaw? Like, absolutely not.
Yeah, I much prefer McCaw. To be honest, I like Norm too defensively, so it's tough to find a situation where I would like choose to put in Lin on like maybe a smaller two guard or a point guard, considering those other guys that we have. You know, I'm just trying to think about like the matchups that we might face. Like,
yeah, like how would he do against Corey Joe? You know what I mean? That's who he's going to be going up against in a playoff series.
What about Fred? Isn't Fred coming back? We don't even have to worry about Jeremy Lin.
I think that, wow, Matt, it must be fatigued because he just took, he just slapped Elisa's hot take right in the head. And you should see his arms are crossed too. He's like, doesn't Fred come back?
Why are we even talking about this guy?
No, Matt's right. Like, don't get me wrong. My hot take is not because I think Jeremy Lin is a good defender. I just think he's right now for the Raptors playing better defense than he is offense for us. And to your point, I don't know, like you say him versus Corey Joseph, and I'm like, oh no, that's not good either. Like,
but Corey Joseph playing great, actually.
Maybe my hot take is that I don't love Jeremy Lin on the Raptors.
I mean, I think he struggled
he's
for
turn
sure.
Around and prove me wrong. Yeah, he's struggled so far. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Like, if we played Brooklyn first round, who's in their backcourt with D'Angelo Russell? Is it?
I think it's like Crabbe or who's the guy?
Oh, Alan Crabbe.
Or Levert, who's a rookie.
Oh,
or,
yeah.
Joe Harris,
Levert,
maybe. So
I don't know.
Let's say we're playing Philly in the playoffs, and Ben Simmons is just going off. At what point do you call on defensive specialist Jeremy Lin to go in there and shut him down?
Okay, you know what? I feel like I might need to rephrase my hot take because I don't have a lot of confidence in Jeremy Lin's skills. But well, you know what,
Elisa, I don't know if you heard that, but Matt just played a bomb sound effect.
Wow, well done, guys. Yeah, I mean, at the best of times, I think if we were to be playing Philly and Ben Simmons, the best that we could hope for from Jeremy Lin is just what I said, is that he's going to be big enough with enough arm wingspan to at least stay in front of him and block and cut off some of the lanes for passing. He's not going to be able to stay in front of him like driving to the basket, but that's what Gasol and Ibaka are there for. And that's what I mean. Like, he's going to do as much to like clog up the lane and try and get a few like pokes and steals, but ultimately I'd rather have somebody else on him.
Well, Elisa, that's it for the pod.
Yeah.
And
oh my gosh,
and
guys,
you're our last caller.
It's 100, right?
100.
We did it, 100.
100. Wow, what a fantastic feat. And it's so good all the time and so interesting. So
Thanks.
Well done.
And I mean, me and Matt have like absolutely trashed our friendship. So we hate each other now, but I mean, I think the pod's great, right?
I know. You guys fight a lot. It's awkward for the rest of us, but it's good. The pod is still good, so it's good.
Yeah, well, I'm like street trained and everything. So, Elisa, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, peace out. All right, and we're back. Wow, what a pod.
That was 100 episodes.
That was 100
just
episodes.
like that.
We'll be back with 101 next Tuesday, and we'll be airing.
That's where we'll really teach you something about basketball.
Wow.
Confederacy of Dunks 101.
Oh, I see.
You see what I'm doing there?
I saw the joke. Yeah. Cheers. Wow, life really is rough, eh? But seriously, thank you so much for listening to the podcast, everyone.
Thanks to all our guests that have been on the show over the last 4.5 years. We couldn't have done it without you. Special thanks again to Kevin, who's the co-founder and former co-host, and just all the listeners too. It's been really enjoyable to talk and hear from a lot of the fans and stuff. So here's to as I said, another 100.
Okay, here's to another 100. See you later, everybody.
Bye.